This video was sponsored by PowerCircle Clothing and Headbusters Food Company in association with Cook Up Unlimited. Cook Up!
3 Feet No Pressure came about. It started off as an idea. It was, I was just coming off a project I had just released a few years back entitled Dio Corpo. It was a dope EP. With that particular project, it was more about, I had something to say at the time, and I was just experimenting with a lot of different producers and a lot of different production at that time. One thing led to another. One of the producers that was on the project, it wasn't his fault or nothing like that, but you know, a lot of times, you know, we demo a lot of different things and a lot of the demos was coming out pretty good. But over time, these beats actually not necessarily leaked out. So many people like rapped on it, so like a lot of producers, they like to put their beats like on YouTube and everything like that, and then here come the YouTube rappers. So then before you know it, you know, all the YouTube rappers is ripping it off of YouTube and recording off the same tracks that we previously recorded to. But it wasn't no big deal because we wasn't looking for no monetary gain, it was just strictly for promotional use. After that project, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get an album mode. Enough to drop this project, which will be dropping real soon. I used to promote it loosely over time. The sequel to my first ever solo project I ever dropped. Way back in like 2003, I dropped my first project entitled Live from the Capitol. So the sequel to that project will be coming soon. So right now, currently I'm in album mode, but that's a whole nother story for another time. It makes sense for how this all came about, so I'm kind of giving y'all the long story. After that, I still had like a bunch of songs we were just still recording, so I was pretty much still on a mean streak, and a lot of artists can relate to that. When you're on the mean streak, I was cranking out songs, a lot of ideas was flowing by the way. So one thing led to another. I said, you know, I don't just want to drop a project, drop my final album rather. Instead, I think I'm gonna drop a project in between that, and then the idea of dropping 3 Feet No Pressure was born. 3 Feet No Pressure originally was supposed to be just a small EP that I would drop a couple dope songs on there. That led to, you know what, I thought to myself, I said, you know what, I've been like, for years, I always kind of double dutched back and forth into production. I always been like a songwriter primarily, or, you know, and I rap because all my homeboys, all my closest friends were producers at the time. And I always been around like some of the dopest producers that ever come out of Chicago. I'm pretty proud to say that, like a lot of them, my good friends, a lot of some of you know. I don't really like to name drop my brothers. Like, I could talk about these guys in particular because I got an interesting story, but we'll dive into that another time. So at this time, I wasn't full-fledged, like I'm gonna go ahead and go in producer mode. So instead, what I did was I actually started recording, which would become some of the original recordings of 3 Feet No Pressure. You know, myself, I'm rapping, and you got various producers and so forth that I work with or have worked with in the past, and we all kind of just, you know, recording joints. And then before you know it, everything went to a complete halt. Because I was in the studio recording at the time. Me and a partner of mine, we opened up a studio. A lot of the original recordings came out of that. So a lot of times, a lot of artists came through there. Every now and then we'd come across a lot of dope artists and this and that. Still, mind you, I haven't even jumped into the production chair yet. Because like I said, I've been wrestling with it on and off. I might make beats here and there, and then, you know, just because I got so much other stuff going on, you know, we on cameras, you know what I'm saying? Writing for other people, recording, taking the engineer chair, you know, just doing all this stuff. So, and knowing that, you know, it ain't no pressure, I was like, well, it ain't no pressure for me to drop an album because I'm not really a rapper, so I'm not on a rapper's time. You know, like with rappers, they usually have like, they have this thing where, you know, you got a campaign to run. It's almost like running up for an election. You know, you gotta get your campaign together. You know, you got an album to promote. You got radio interviews, pay for your marketing promotions. It's not to be a rapper. So for me, it was like, you know, a lot of times, most rappers will probably come to me for services because I'm a behind the scenes guy. I just happen to use this thing called rap and songwriting, all these other different things that come into play as an instrument or a tool to really show you guys like a full, you know, everything that I do, because it's kind of hard for me to explain exactly what I do because I don't like to, you know, a lot of people like to say I'm this, I'm that, I'm a jack of all trades and the master of none or whatever. But I'm not that type of dude.